Think about this too. When you're in a social gathering, you're on your phone. What does it transmit if you're on your phone and you're not smiling, but you are smiling? So people look at you, right, and they see you're on your phone smiling. So that transmits non-verbally. This guy probably has something very cool. Maybe he's got a pretty girl hitting up on his phone. Maybe he's got a good business deal that just happened. He's making money. Okay, this guy is happy about something on his phone, so he's probably interesting. So I probably want to be around him because he's smiling or looking at his phone. So just something that little, smiling while on your phone, transmits a completely different image of yourself than not doing it. What's up, kings and queens? Welcome to Goals First. I'm your host, and this is the #1 podcast for helping you put your goals first. Today, we are going over conversation tips to arouse desire and want in either people you want to befriend or date, pick up, whatever you want to call it, right? Now, these tips work for both. So today I'm going to summarize the principles I talked about in previous videos and kind of do it in a more clear way that gets right to the point, so you walk away feeling like you can go into a bar, you can go into a social setting, you can go into a goddamn supermarket, maybe even Target, and if you see some really cool guy who you want to befriend, maybe it's a person, it depends on your perspective, right? So someone like me, my perspective is I want to befriend high-value men because I want to have more business friends, okay? Your perspective might be you want to befriend more people in the art community because you want to improve your painting, your music, your film skills, whatever. So whatever your goals are, there's high-value people in that threshold. And these are going to be the skills. I'm going to go over all the nitty-gritty stuff that you need to go befriend the people that you want for your high-value friends. Or to pick up women for the boys. Okay, and guess what, girls? You can use it to pick up guys too. These principles work just as well in the reverse. So, to start off, the most important thing is be genuinely interested in other people, okay? You have to be genuinely interested. You can't be fake. If you're really just faking it, then you probably aren't interested in them anyway, so it's irrelevant, right? So you might be like, how can I be genuine? Let's say you met someone at a bar who's a millionaire, part of some really cool app startup business, right? You probably would genuinely be interested in being their friend because they're probably famous, they're a celebrity, they're rich, right? So you probably are genuinely interested, so you can transmit that in the questions you ask. You gotta talk about their interest. Ask questions about their hobbies. And what you want to do is by striking a conversation with this high-value person, or girl, or guy, who you want to befriend or have in your life, maybe get a date with, whatever, you are befriending them, you're genuinely interested, and you're showing this by asking questions. So it could be anything, it depends on the circumstances, right? So I can't just tell you, this is the question to ask. Maybe you're meeting someone at a bar who is a crazy guitarist, right? So you can ask what guitar, what was the first song you learned? Do you play mainly acoustic or electric? Let's say the business person, tell me about your business, how did you get into it? Have you always been an entrepreneur? And get people talking. I gave this example on TikTok recently that you get someone talking, it's like a lawnmower. The first pull, you ever have the old gas power string lawnmowers? Doesn't always start up. Takes like 4 or 5 pulls for that fucker to go and be going. Okay, just how it is. So the conversation is very similar. 4 or 5 pulls, and keep asking questions until the person starts rumbling. Sometimes you gotta walk away. You have to have an abundance mindset that you can't just be there like, please accept me. You gotta just be calm, talk to them, and hopefully the conversation, you asking questions about their interests and their hobbies leads to something, okay? What you want to also do, this is really important for meeting new people, and you demonstrating that you're a high-value person, so these people want to be around you, is remembering names. And I know everybody, including myself, is like, oh, I'm bad at remembering names. I'm so bad at it. Guess what there, buddy? We all are, okay? Here's the trick to remember names. You gotta say their name 3 times in conversation after they say it. So let's say you meet a guy named, Jason at a bar. So you meet him, you introduce each other, whatever, and you want to befriend this guy. So you go, so Jason, tell me about what you do for work. So Jason, how did you get into the field initially? Can you please tell me more? Jason, do you happen to golf? Or, Jason, do you play guitar? We should definitely have a jam session one day. We should definitely hit the range one day and hit some golf balls, right? And that's what you do. So you take the information, You use their name while you're talking to them 3 or 4 times until it's reinforced in your head. Not that you might be thinking, that sounds weird to say their name 3 or 4 times. No, using someone's name 3 or 4 times is so powerful. People love having their name uttered out. It's their favorite word. So, this is actually a principle from the book that we're talking about, how influence people. I'm going to be referencing a lot of the principles because they kind of clearly, concisely sum up what I'm talking about. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in the world. I repeat, remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in the world. That's one principle. Another principle in the book was arouse in the other person an eager want. Okay? So you gotta think of what you're arousing. Arousing is a sexual term, but what does it mean? It means to turn on. So you want to turn on an eager want in that person, an eager, like strong desire, an eager want in that person. Okay? So you do this by showing that being around you fills their wants. You have a commonality, and this is why I talked about asking questions previously. This is where I promise, everything I'm going to go over all plays together. It's like a puzzle. You ask questions, so you're pulling out information from the person, and now you find out maybe from your talk, you find out 5 to 10 things they do, right? They're a business person, they play guitar, they do some photography, they like hiking, okay? Maybe you hate hiking, you're not a business person, but you also play guitar. There's a commonality, so now you can talk about guitar. Now you can offer value. This person says, yeah, I need to practice more. You say, come hang out with me sometime, I'll teach you. Or maybe you're good at golf, they mention golf. Hey, we should go golfing sometime. I could always use the practice, and I need a buddy to practice with, right? So now you found a commonality, and you offer value. You cannot take that. You cannot say, oh, can you teach me how to golf? Can you teach me how to play guitar? Can you let me be part of your business? Because that's the fastest way to turn someone away. Okay? They're going to be running for the hills. Offer value. I need a buddy to play guitar with. I need a buddy to practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with. I would love someone to run some business ideas by. You want to offer that them hanging out with you in the context of something they mentioned they enjoyed earlier will be a benefit to them. So for golfing, it's simple as hitting the range, hitting a 9-hole, I'm using bad terms here so I don't know golf that well, hitting a 9-hole, 16-hole game, right? So now they just want to go practice with, like, so yeah, that sounds fun. This guy can add value to my life. I can go practice golf with this guy. Maybe most of the other friends aren't into it, and they need someone to fill that void. And it could be anything, right? If you're in college, it might be a partying buddy. You meet someone at a bar or a party. You're like, bro, you're cool as shit. We should go hit this bar more often. Next weekend, me and you are going to go. We're going to get all the bitches, right? Be funny about it. It doesn't matter. Or if it's a girl, you'd be like, hey, you're super cool. We should definitely hang out at this bar again next weekend. What's your contact? So you're finding out through questions what their interests are, and then you're offering yourself as someone that brings value to those interests. Smiling, yes, smiling. Smiling's really fucking powerful, okay? This has been proven, this has been studied. I'm not going to get too far into it, but number one, for yourself, it's been proven that when you're depressed and sad, if you smile, it will actually trick your brain into thinking you're happier than you are. This is proven. This is not my opinion. This is not liberal propaganda. No. Smile. Now, what it also does, it transmits high value to the other person, okay? So, what it does, you smile, okay? And it shows the other person you're happy, you're content, you're probably someone who has a fulfilling life going on, and it makes them want to be around you, right? If you're sitting there frowning, you're transmitting that you're angry. A lot of communication, in fact, majority of communication is nonverbal. This is well-studied, well-documented stuff, we all know it. And this is why a lot of people struggle socially, because they're not good at using their face and their nonverbal language to transmit what they want to transmit, right? So they might be talking and saying the right thing, but their face is like this, and it's like not moving an inch. You gotta smile, you gotta be alive, you gotta be present. This is a big one. If you're in your head, this is what in your head looks like. Right now you can see my face is not expressing much at all. I'm talking, but I'm in my head, okay? Now look at my eye contact, look at my smile. I'm present. I'm talking to you. Well, I'm talking to a camera, but I'm talking to you, alright? So, be present. Be present and smile in conversation. Don't be creepy, okay? Don't be the Joker. I put a smile on that face. No. Just a little smile. Now this is one for the boys. When you're talking to girls who you want to impress and win over, have a smirk, okay? So she asks you, what do you do? Be very funny, be joking, and be like, oh, I'm a beer pong major, right? So you want to make jokes, you want to be smirking, and even when we talk about what's true, I'm really into photography. I have a passion for guitar and business, I'm an entrepreneur. Have a little smirk. You see how it's like one side smirking a little more? Especially when you're teasing the girl. For pickup, and you're teasing the girl, which is like I said, she gives you a straightforward question, you give a joking answer. I don't know if you're my type, we'll have to say. Oh, come on, don't make moves on me that fast. I don't know if I'm going to get in your number tonight or not. Like, all these little push-pull methods, which I'm not getting into in this video, you can go look up push-pull yourself, look up dating channels, smirk, smile. Whether it's winning over a high-value friend that you want to win over, or winning over someone who you're interested in for dating, the power of a smile can be used for smirking, can be used for just smiling, or just the slightest, like when you're sitting there, right, looking around or on your phone, have a smile. Imagine, think about this too, when you're in a social gathering, you're on your phone. What does it transmit if you're on your phone and you're not smiling, but you are smiling? So people look at you, right, and they see you're on your phone smiling. So that transmits non-verbally. This guy probably has something very cool. Maybe he's got a pretty girl hitting up on his phone. Maybe he's got a good business deal that just happened. He's making money. Okay, this guy is happy about something on his phone, so he's probably interesting, so I probably want to be around him because he's smiling or looking at his phone. So just something that little, smiling while on your phone, transmits a completely different image of yourself than not doing it. Now, I mentioned this before, one of the biggest reasons people fail to win people over is they're not listening intently. You listen with intention, as I just talked about. You are present, you are there, you're looking at the person, eye contact. Eye contact gets a little weird. My recommendation is you look for 3 seconds in one eye, then you can look away when it's kind of natural, take a break, then you look back at their eyes. One thing I've heard is you look long enough to figure out what the eye color is. It's about 3 or 4 seconds, you look in their eyes, you can kind of conclude it's like a dark green, it's a pretty blue color, and you look away. Third thing you can do is look in the middle, look in their whatever you call it, that's where the unibrow would be if they had one. I pluck mine, so that's the first term that came to mind. Not that it's bad, but I do a little hair here at the pluck. So you look in the middle of their eyebrow, and they will look at it as if you're looking at their eyes, and it gives you the comfort of not really having to make that intense eye contact. Something I do a lot, I fuck up, is I have this wide eye syndrome. That's just something I do. So I have to remember to be present and have my eyes like this. The way I'm looking right now is perfect. They're not wide like this, and they're not closed like that either, right? It's in the middle. So listen intently. If you don't listen intently, they'll know, because then they'll mention something they said earlier, and you don't remember it, and it's like, oh, this guy's not even fucking listening to me. People don't have interest in being around someone who doesn't remember what they said because they feel like they're not being listened to. They feel like you're ignoring them while they're in person, so why would they continue to be around you? So while you're practicing the principles I just talked about, listen intently, be present. The way they sum it up in the book, the 2 principles they set is, number 1, be a good listener, encourage others to talk about themselves, and talk in terms of the other person's interests, which is what I said. So you start out with this new person by finding out what they're interested in, and then when you find the commonality of one of their interests that you also are interested in, you are talking in terms of their interests. So the frame has to be that they gain by talking to you, and they will gain from being around you because you have a similar interest, that they will benefit from your presence, right? And it might be anything from partying to guitar to business to video editing. Whatever it is, they need to walk away feeling like, if I hang out with that guy, we're going to have a good time. We have a similar interest, and we're both going to get better at that interest by hanging out with each other and spending time together. That's more focused on winning over high-value friends than it is for women, but it can be applied just the same. Compliments are one of the most powerful tools in your asset box, I guess it would be. Compliment a lot of things people did intently. This is the big differentiator that I have to specify, because people fuck up compliments. I don't know how, but people do screw up compliments. So what we have to do is this: compliment things that were intentional. What do I mean by that? Let's say you meet a girl who you think is really hot. If you tell her, you are so beautiful, that is not an intentional compliment. She did not do anything to be beautiful, okay? However, if you compliment, did you dye your hair? It looks really nice. That's going to be a meaningful compliment to her, that person, because that person took an action, a step to do something different. They dyed their hair. So you're complimenting something they did. They did not choose to have good genetics and be hot, right? That's not like good for them, but they didn't choose to be. And you'll stand out because most people do compliment things people can't help. You're hot. Okay. Like, I hear that on, girls hear that sometimes a day, they don't fucking care. Compliment something they did intentionally. I like your hair. I really like your outfit. If they paint, you can talk about their painting. Wow, that's really beautiful. They play guitar, ask them to play a song and compliment how good they did. Compliment things that people do. Guys, right, if you want to win over a friend, whenever a high-value individual, don't compliment bullshit things like, you're cool, dude, we should chill. Can I get your Snapchat, your Instagram, you seem cool. I really like your mindset on business. Can I get your contact? I really like your mindset on golf and what we talked about. I would love to get your contact and maybe hang out sometime. I really like your appreciation for music and film and guitar. Compliment things the person put an effort into. That's really the factor. Compliment something that the person put effort into. You want to be adding energy to the room. This is another big one. This is one of the biggest things I've learned. I've been on both playing fields. I come into a room, I don't know anybody, I'm just sitting there awkwardly, and I'm trying to get attention, and I end up feeling like shit because I'm trying to take energy from the room. You have to come in like you're the shit. You have to come in believing you're high value. Believe you're high value. Even if you don't believe it anyway. And you are blessing this room with your presence, right? You're just blessing them. And you want to know the people there. You want to get to know everybody. Hey, what's your name? Okay, nice to meet you. And what this does is you're walking in intently with this energy that you're adding to the room. So someone comes over and maybe the interaction goes good or bad, but it doesn't matter. Because you're going to project outwards that if they walk away or they're not interested in you, it doesn't matter. Because you have this energy you're giving, and they can either join your fun vibe, or they cannot. But when you're like trying to pull them in, right? It's a girl you want to impress, or some guy you think's cool, and you really want to be his friend, and you're like digging it. I'm like, so what do you do? No, you're working business. Tell me about it. Could you help me? Or a girl, you're really hot. So like, what's your major? Right? This like nervous type of chatter. They feel like you're taking energy from them. So you need to be talking in a frame. It's called frame control. Talking in a frame that you're coming in, you feel high value, and you have energy you're putting out, not energy you're taking away, and people can come have a piece of your pie, not the other way around. So the only way to get good at this, to be someone that more or less contributes energy versus takes away energy, is practice. That's the only true way. You gotta put yourself in a lot of uncomfortable situations. If you're over 21, go to bars, go to clubs. Try to go with a friend. If you have no friends, then work your way up. Start going to join an MMA school, right? Join a karate class and make a friend who can go out with you. Ask a coworker to hang out with you. If you're in college, make a friend. Stop being a bitch. Talk to people. Like, if you ask, sometimes, and I hate to say this because it's like a bad intent to have, but sometimes it is a numbers game. Like, to get just the core of where you need to be, you just gotta ask enough people to hang out with you, so you're in a position to go out where you feel good enough, like, hey, I'm here with a friend or two, I'm the shit, I'm contributing energy, and you just have to practice that vibe. Practice that vibe of, I have energy, I'm gonna talk to this person, and hopefully they want a piece of my pie, because I'm gonna show that I can offer something to them. And it just takes practice, and eventually it becomes second nature to you, that you walk in a room and you're contributing energy, not taking away. So just practice. Go out and practice these skills and tactics that we're talking about. You want to always make the person feel important, okay? If you seem to be a fan or a supporter of their work, of what they've done intently, they will attribute you as smart. So if someone has got a guitar, for example, you want to be friends with someone who's cool and plays a guitar. You go, wow, you're so good at it. Like, you really have a deep understanding of it. So maybe someone is a history buff. Wow, I wish I knew history as well as you did, man. Like, you ask some questions about what was this the Roman time period about, what was this about. If it's a business person, you compliment, wow, what you did was incredible. No matter what it is, you can apply this to any type of field of whatever this high-value individual is good at, you basically act like you're a fan and a supporter of their work. Their work could be photography, could be paintings, could be music, could be anything. This is a natural thing about humans. The person will think, if he thinks what I did was great, he must be smart, or she must be smart. The person will assume you're smart. That's how our brains are wired. If you do something, someone's like, wow, you're so great at that. That's so clever that you thought of that. You feel smart. You'd be like, if they understand my perspective, they must be smart. Right? So if you show that you're really interested in the person, you make them feel important, and you act like you're a fan of what they did, they will attribute you as smart, therefore they should hang out with you because you're like-minded and you're both smart. Now, there's a great quote by a guy named Ralph Emerson, and he said, every man I meet is my superior in some way. In that, I learn of him. I repeat, every man is my superior in some way. In that, I learn of him. So, what does this mean? It means that when you meet somebody, it's very easy to feel like you don't know them, maybe they're nothing special. But when you have the attitude that everyone has something that you can learn, they're your superior in some way, right? So maybe you meet someone who's some big dumb jock. Yo, bro, I hit the gym, bro, I'm in a frat, dude. And your instinct's like, this guy is fucking retarded. Well, hold on a minute. You probably could learn a lot about working out from that guy. Maybe you can't learn about history or coding or technology from that guy. Maybe you can't have any philosophical conversations, but that big, buff, dumb frat dude, he's not that dumb about working out. He's probably pretty smart about lifting. He knows how to do it because he got the results. The janitor of the building you work at probably knows some tactics to clean things that you don't know. He's your superior in cleaning strategies, okay? Someone who plays guitar really well is your superior in music. So every man or woman, if you realize they're probably your superior in one way or another, you will have a different mindset in talking to people. And you can go into conversation really trying to learn from everybody, and by having that quality of wanting to learn and appreciating that they have something that you don't have and you can learn from them, they will pick up on that and want to be around you more. This is how you win over people. You start using it with everybody, and slowly as you practice the skill, you will be able to win over the high-value people you want to befriend, the women or men you want dates with. You'll be able to apply this to different fashions. Another thing you can do is ask people about expensive things they have. Okay, this is a really cool one. This is a great tactic. I know it works. So, it can be someone who's poor, rich, famous, not famous. Everyone has something expensive, okay? Now, it's relative to them. What Elon Musk at his house has something way more expensive than I have at my house. But relative, for me, if you go to my house, you'll see the camera that this is being recorded on. This camera was like $2,500. The mic I'm using right now, it's called the Rode Go 3. It's on the camera. I have like two of them. It was $300. I have a ring light right there. That was like $150. This decoration behind me cost like $100. My laptop right here was like $2,000 or whatever. So, let's say I was meeting me, okay? Here's my example of what I just told you. I would come over to my house and I'd be like, wow, that camera's really cool. Why do you choose this one? And that would get me, Plutus, talking about the camera. And I'd be like, I found a camera that was the best for stabilization and had pretty good quality. I'm able to change the lenses pretty easily, blah, 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 blah. And the point isn't the conversation. It's that you got the person talking about their expensive item. Because if someone bought something that's expensive relative to their income, obviously they're going to have a lot to say about that item. And it's like a hack, right? What I just gave you is literally a hack to use with other principles. If you ask people about their most expensive items, they will start talking about them. You will get the ball rolling, I promise you. Now, in the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, there was a really good example of this. It's a true story, allegedly, according to the author, so I'm going to say it's a true story. This husband got dragged to go, everyone who's watched this, who hasn't been dragged to a boring family event? We've all been dragged to some boring family event that we don't want to go to. In this story, this husband is dragged to his wife's old aunt's house for some bullshit event. This is some old lady who's like, her husband passed away, everyone's passed away, she still has her niece and grandkids or whatever, and she's like rich apparently. This woman was loaded. I'm talking like Scooby-Doo in the 90s where they go to some fucking mansion, some creepy old mansion, it's like some old person owns it, and they have all this expensive like pianos and furniture, and so some old lady walks around like, do-rang, right, they ring the bell, and some old person goes, who-rang, right, we know what I'm talking about here. You can picture this old mansion of some old person who's got like nothing going on, but they have all this fucking like wealth around them. So in this story, this husband had been part of Dale Carnegie's classes or whatever, I believe, and he understood the principles that I'm talking about now. He understood them. So what did he do? he came with, and he was actually really interested in seeing the aunt's stuff. So she's like, oh, sweetheart, can I give you a tour of my house? And everyone in the room was like, nah, like, I don't really want to kick it. No, everyone basically said, fuck you, good old aunt, let's call her Aunt May. Fuck you, Aunt May, we don't want to tour your house, you're boring, we don't care, screw you, we want your free food and free hors d'oeuvres, okay? But this husband was like, I would love a tour. And he also had changed his mindset to be genuinely interested in people. So he was in a place in himself where he could be genuinely interested in others. So he said, sure, I'd love a tour. She showed him around, showed him, paintings, furniture, and they got to this really expensive old car. I think it was either the husband bought it and forgot about it, or the husband built it, but for whatever reason, she had this really, really expensive car sitting around. And I think they spent like an hour talking about it, because the guy was a car guy, and the aunt had so much appreciation for this car because her husband had either built it or bought it, and the husband loved it. So she told him all about the car, and they talked about it for a long time. He was like, when did you buy it? Where did you buy it? Oh, this make and model has good for miles per gallon, whatever. I'm making up the topics, but he asked genuine questions about the car. Ooh, voice crack. He asked genuine questions about the car, and they had a good conversation where he showed interest in what she was showing him, okay? So what did this lead to? Fast forward a few months or whatever, one day the aunt comes to the husband and wife and said, I made a decision, I'm leaving the car to your husband. And the husband was like, no, I can't accept it. I'm not even blood. You have grandkids, you have my wife who's, your niece, you have all these family members, I can't accept the car, I'm not blood. And what the old woman said, this is a true story from one of the people that took Dale Carnegie's course, the author of the book. She said, in all my years, I'm just a lonely old lady, basically. I'm a lonely old woman, and you were the only person who sat with me and truly had interest in this car. And because no one else gave a shit, no one else had interest in it, I want it to be in your hands, because I know you have interest in it. I know you had passion and care, and you actually feel the way I feel about this car. My grandkids, my this, that, and the other person in my family, they don't give a shit. You do. And this husband, just by being there, went on some stupid family event, just by showing interest, genuine interest, he got this super expensive car, and the whole family was like, burnt. Guess what, grandkids? You're not getting it because none of you care about me or the car. People want to be around and give things to, including their attention, to people who share the same interests. And that's the point of the story. The principle in the book, the way they sum it up, is make other people feel important and do it sincerely. Tonality. All of the principles I just talked about must be applied with the correct tonality. So there's two things here. Number one, you want to be talking from your gut, okay? So right now, this whole time, I've been speaking from mid-chest area to my gut. The words come out deeply. I can lower my voice a little bit and not be as loud, but I'm still talking deeply. Now, this is me talking from my nose, okay? You hear the difference? It's not sounding too good now, is it? If you don't talk good right now, you have to, number one, talk from your gut. You have to enunciate your words. I'm a natural fast talker. Anyone that knows me will tell you sometimes I mumble and I talk fast and they can't understand me. But the more this is also like everything else, you have to practice it. At first, you're going to feel weird. I was like, wow. My friend's going to be like, why the fuck is he changing his voice, right? It is kind of weird. You basically have to change the way you talk. And your friends and family are going to be like, why are you doing that? And you have to just be upfront. I want to talk better. I want to sound better. I'm making it a mission to have better tonality. And most people will be very receptive to that. Like, oh, that's good. I should do that too. So you talk deeper from your chest. You enunciate, pronunciate every single word. And you want to talk with authority. You want to talk with authority that you know what you're talking about. So your words and with an awkward, not awkward. Listen to these two sentences here. Hey, do you want to hang out? Hey, we should hang out. Or, hey, we should hang out. Hey, we should hang out. It's hard to break down the difference of how I'm doing it, but one is a question, even though I'm saying the exact same words. Hey, we should hang out. Hey, we should hang out. And one is a statement. You want to always be in the positive, the assumption of yes. So when you're talking, tell me about your camera. Tell me about your job. assume the person's going to do what you're asking of them, whether it's tell you about something or asking to hang out, asking to do something. Talk and be positive that you're always assuming the answer is yes. Do not end your sentences with a question. Why would you do that? Could we go get a beer? Could we get a drink? Oh, what's it like being a CEO? What's it like being a CEO? You want to sound interested? You can sound interested. What's it like being a science major? How did you get so good at guitar? But talk with confidence, with interest, not with questioning yourself. I hope that makes sense. You also want to open up first, okay? So if someone's not opening up to you, you open up first. People are very receptive to open people. So you can be like, I was someone who was really weird in high school, I was really dorky, and I really blew up when I learned how to be more confident. I learned how to, I believed myself in my music, and my art, my photography, my science skills. If you open up about personal things, the other person will be more encouraged to open up themselves too. So you combine tonality with other principles, with speaking right, being sincere, and you open up first about things which will let them be receptive and talk about their job, their interests, their childhood. This works well with women when you're picking up women, talking to girls, you're on a date. Now don't sound like a bitch. I'm not saying sit there and cry, oh, I was bullied as a kid. No. But if you demonstrate openness, most of the times the person will respond with openness. And use this with discretion, okay? You don't want to be too open and get some of your whole life story. Do not do that. But under the context of a specific topic, if you show openness first, they will be receptive to it. So, use discretion, use when appropriate. If you need confidence before walking into a room, or before doing anything, lift your arms, okay? This right here raises your, test for men, raises your testosterone levels, it raises your, serotonin in your head. I don't know all the terms, but it raises the chemicals that need to be raised. You hold this for 30 seconds, right? I don't know if it's out of frame right now, but my hands are all the way up. You hold it for 30 seconds. With some deep breaths, that will raise your vibration, your energy level, so you walk in the room actually feeling more confident. You will talk deeper, you will feel more confident, you will feel happier, you will have the application of having where you're contributing energy, not taking energy. This is a big thing you can do. It's like a hack, it's a social, mental hack. Arms up! All aboard! You hold it up till about 30 seconds and you walk in the room feeling real good. How do you practice these skills? Like I said before, the practice and getting good at it comes through time and practice. I recommend clubs, bars, nightclubs, stuff like that, okay? You go out with a friend or two, and you don't necessarily have to get numbers or whatever. Just talk to people. Before you get good, you have to be bad, okay? You have to walk before you can run. You have to crawl before you can walk. The reason why most people don't succeed in things they try and they give up is they try, let's say my camera right here. I bought this camera without ever doing anything with cameras. I bought a professional level camera, and I've been learning as I go. If I was just shit, this is too complex, I would never be doing this podcast right now because I wouldn't have figured out enough of the camera's buttons to do it. I'm in a coding class right now. I was finance major and I switched to management information systems, which is a business, computers combined. I thought coding was super complex, which it is, but you gotta start somewhere. So, you gotta practice. You go to the bar, club, and just find one friend to go with. First, you can make a friend, okay? And then go with that friend. Find someone to go with at the bar so you feel a little more confident you're with somebody, you're not a weirdo. Now, when you get really good at game and socializing, you can go to the bar and club by yourself. I can. But if you're not there yet, go with a friend. Talk to a bunch of people. Don't even care about the outcome. Practice the principles I said. Don't worry about getting their name or numbers. If you when you start doing it correctly, they'll ask you for your contact, and that's how you know you're there. So you keep practicing until people ask you for your, if it's girls you're talking to, or you might find some guy who's very successful, you want to be his friend. You find a guitar player who you want to learn from, someone who's good at golf, whatever. Practice all these principles, and you can even mention, I'm really good at golf, we should golf sometime, we should talk about business sometime, whatever. When you're doing it correctly, you'll start seeing a flip where these people ask you for your contact, and that's how you know you're at the point where you are doing the principles, you internalize them, and you can be the one who puts them in the conversation when the moment's right. Hey, let's exchange numbers and go golfing next weekend. Hey, I would love a jam session with guitar. Let's compare our coding our C minus code. Joke for the coders. Yeah, and that's really it. Another thing you can do if you're under 21 and you can't hit the bars or the clubs, okay? And if, let's say you don't want to hit bars and clubs, it's not your scene. I talked about some other videos. Cashier smiles. I created this. It's my own trademark strategy. When you go to stores, forget the self-checkout. Stop using self-checkout. Use cashiers. If there's a hot one for boys, I recommend using the hot one so you challenge yourself. Your goal needs to be make cashiers smile. So you walk in, talk to them, tell them something funny that happened today. Oh, how's your day going? Good, good. Right, that's the normal interaction. Good, good, okay, bye. How's your day going? Oh, my day's pretty good. You know, you wouldn't believe what happened in traffic. I saw this girl. We were driving down Hollywood Boulevard, and these girls were looking at me and my friends, and we were flirting a little bit. The first light, kind of said, hi, what's up? Second light, they were a little far behind me, so we couldn't flirt. The third light, these girls, she must have been looking at me because she didn't hit the brake all the way, and she rear ended the car in front of her. Okay? So, like, there's a initial part of the story, there's a midpoint, there's a twist ending, conflict, whatever, where it, like, throws off the story and it's interesting. It's called 3 points to a story. This is something a lot of people use in pickup, in storytelling. It's very well-known, like, strategy in just speaking and communication, whereas 3 points to the story, right? Saw hot girls, flirted a little bit, twist ending, they crashed. And they were so embarrassed that they drove off. I don't know. Make up a story, or if you have something interesting, you could do something crazy, you know, or something silly. You saw a dog humping a rabbit earlier. You know, I don't know. You could say, traffic's been crazy. I've been on the, you know, I don't know. Like, it's hard to give exact examples, but talk with them. It's an interesting part of your day. Ask them questions not normally asked. That's another part. Ask the cashiers a question that normally asked. Be like, anything crazy happened today? No. What's the craziest thing that you've had happen here? The goal, and this is, again, it's trial and error, comes through practice. Start making cashiers smile. Forget the self-checkout. Wait in the line a little bit longer. When you can make cashiers smile, you'll be much better using these principles for socializing with high-value people or pick up for a girl or boy you're interested in. Anyway, guys, I hope I put you a little closer to putting your goals first. Thank you for watching, and until next time, peace.